This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning, Rabbi Shalom Aleichem. We're continuing now in the second shiur on the Parsha. This is what we call the Imponderables on Parshas Shemos. I have a few questions that maybe you could help me out with. And I know this is your favorite time of the week. So here we go. In Perek Aleph Pasuk Yud, the Mitzrim said, "V'haya ki sikrena milchama v'noisaf gam hu al soineinu." And when war will happen, the Jews will be added to our enemies. What is this mysterious war that Paro was afraid of? Who are these unnamed enemies that the Pharaoh was afraid of? We don't find that any war ever happened. We don't find the enemy. So actually, in all honesty, I happen to have read last week that many of the ancient monuments that were built in Egypt were built on their southern border to sort of ward off and to inspire fear into the enemy lurking in the south. But, the Torah doesn't tell us about what this war the Mitzrim were afraid of and who their enemy was. Next, Rashi learns, V'cha asher ya'aneh oisai kein yirbeh v'chein yifroitz. Perek Aleph, Pasuk Yud Beis. The Pasuk says, V'cha asher ya'anu oisai kein yirbeh v'chein yifroitz. And in accordance with what they afflicted him, so too he increased and he proliferated. Rashi says, as the more the Mitzrim put to their heart to afflict us, God put in His heart to increase us. And I'm bothered by the following question. Why didn't Rashi learn the Pasuk Kipshutai? Not that as much as the Mitzrim put in their heart to afflict us, Hashem put in His heart to increase us. Why is this all focused on what the Mitzrim were thinking and what God thought? Why doesn't Rashi just learn, in accordance with what the Mitzrim did afflict us, God increased us? Why is Rashi interpreting the Pasuk referring to what was in the heart of the Mitzrim and what was in the heart of Hashem? Now when Moshe said to Dasan Ma'aviram, Rasha lama sakariyecha, so Dasan said, hey, halahargeni atoimer, are you going to kill us with words like you killed the Mitzri? How did Dasan Ma'aviram know that Moshe killed the Mitzri with the Shem HaMafayrash? But the Pasuk says, Vayifen koi v'chai, Moshe turned in both directions. Vayar ki einish, he saw nobody was watching. So if nobody was watching, how did Dasan Ma'aviram know? Now, according to the Medrash that Rashi brings, that Moshe looked both ways and he saw there was no man, meaning he looked into the future of this Mitzri and he saw nobody was going to convert. So it doesn't mean that Moshe looked both ways to make sure nobody was there. So, okay, maybe Dasan Ma'aviram was there watching. But according to the Pshat that he saw there was no man there and nobody was watching, so then how did Dasan Ma'aviram know? What Moshe Rabbeinu looked and he thought nobody was looking, and really somebody was looking? Moshe didn't do a good job looking? Okay. Perek Gimel, Pasuk Tes and Yud. The Pasuk says, Ve'ata hinei tza'akas bnei Yisrael ba'elai, and now, behold, the outcry of the Jewish people came to me. Usually Viata means tshuva. And then pasuk Yud, V'ata lecha. Why v'ata 2 times? What's the now? And then a little bit further, Hashem says to Moshe, I will be that I will be. So you should say to Bnei Yisrael, I will be sent you. And then Vayomer Oida Elokim al Moshe. Hashem said further to Moshe. Why does it have to say again? Vayomer Elokim. He could continue talking. Why does it have to B'chlal say Vayomer Elokim? Why does it have to say Vayomer Oida Elokim? What's all the drama over here? Another interesting question. Why is everybody dying in Parsha Shemos, but it doesn't mean that they died? So when it says Vayamas Melech Mitzrayim, Rashi said, no, he didn't really die, he became a Mitzrayim. And when Hashem says, come back to Egypt because all the men who wanted to kill you died, Rashi said, no, they didn't really die, they just became poor. Everyone in the Parsha is not really dying. But earlier on, when it talks at the maidservants of Basia, it says they were going, and Rashi says, even though it doesn't say they were dying, they died. On the pasuk B'ni B'chayri Yisrael, it says, Rashi brings a medrash, that here Hashem signed away, he signed of the birthright that Yaakov Avinu bought from Esav. B'ni b'chayri Yisrael. Yaakov's my b'char. Yaakov is entitled to the b'char. Here God is signing on the birthright. What? Why now? Why is God signing on the birthright in the conversation to the Pharaoh? What does Paro got to do with this? Yaakov's not alive. Esav's not alive. Moshe's talking to Paroi, and now God's signing away on the birthright. Perhaps we could say, the Gra writes in the commentary to the Safra D'Tzniusa that when the Nachash made Adam sin, he brought on Adam 10 curses. And he did it with trickery. So when Yaakov Avinu took the birthright from Esav, he got the 10 blessings, and he sort of reversed the 10 curses of the Nachash. And that's why Yaakov had to do it with trickery. The Pharaoh, our sages teach us, the Shalach HaKadosh writes, was the embodiment of the Nachash, the Tanim Hagadol. And he also tricked us into our labor in Egypt. And he wanted us to go back to the 10 curses of the Nachash. So therefore, when Paro, the Nachash, is repeating his iniquity, so God said, all right, I had enough of this guy. I hereby sign away that the brachos belong to Yaakov. Okay. One more question. Rashi tells us that when Moshe Rabbeinu did not circumcise his son, a serpent came along and a Nachash came, swallowed him up to his hip, and then spit him out, and then swallowed him up to the Milah. Says Rashi, so Tzipora understood it was because of the Milah. Question. Why didn't Moshe understand it was because of the Milah? I mean, Moshe Rabbeinu made a cheshbon, Rashi said, to give him Milah now, we'll have to wait 3 days to go back to Egypt. To give him Milah later, God told me to go to Egypt. To give him Milah later is the only option. He said, for me to give him a Milah, it will be sakana. To wait 3 days, I can't wait. So why was he punished? Because he was oisek in the hotel first. So the question is, Why did only Tzipora recognize that it was because of the Milah, and Moshe Rabbeinu didn't? It seems like, because Moshe Rabbeinu made a valid cheshbon, he cannot give the kid a Milah now, because then it's going to delay him going to Mitzrayim 3 days. And he has no choice but to delay the Milah. And when he was swallowed up to the Makom HaMilah, he still didn't hold that was a valid reason for him to be punished. As Rabbi Yossi says, he was punished because he was oisek in the Maloin first. But Tzipora must have realized something Moshe didn't. And that is because he was oisek in the Maloin first, before, that means he put his own needs ahead of the needs of Hashem. That then required him, well, once you're busy with your own stuff, you got to do the Milah first. But it's interesting, this was a cheshbon that Moshe Rabbeinu made, and Tzipora, that Moshe Rabbeinu was not able to make, apparently, and Tzipora did. Okay, these are some of the Imponderables and Parshas Shemos. We're going to now have a short share on Tefillah, momentarily.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.